we had talked earlier just a little bit about even at a smaller level. I mean, you had mentioned dentists in Chicago and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And before we started the interview, we were talking about this, is the Google local listings now, and the massive impact that that's having on businesses. And I mean, I was telling you, in Canada, I think we're behind the times on this one, because I don't think people have fully embraced this yet. And I see a lot more of the embrace down in the U.S. But what do you think? What do you think at that level? I mean, Google is placing such an emphasis on writing reviews for restaurants, for businesses, and everything. How can a smaller company protect itself from damaging reputation? What would you take, or what would you do in that case?
So there's basically, the way you have to think about this is that you are no longer really controlling your brand. This is really a consequence of a conversation, a way of people engaging with you that you just do not fully control. That doesn't change fundamentally some business fundamentals. If you do a good job in your business, if you treat your customers right, you treat your employees right, that still will be beneficial and will show up on average in these types of comments and so forth. Now, the next question then is, if you engage more actively. One thing that there's some services out there where they're called they're like basically help you protect your online reputation. Most of these, what they do is they kind of jam the signal, so to speak. So if there's some negative stuff out there, basically provide some additional things so that it's more difficult to find. The way you want to think about this dimension of the issue is really, when people type in your name without anything else, or they type in Chinese restaurant, to use your example, right, around a particular area, what comes up on the first page of the Google screen? That's really the equivalent, the social media equivalent of what a headline is in that sense. It's the thing that people will pay attention to, that's kind of easy to find. If it's easy to find, it will catch people's attention. And if that looks negative, or it looks like, not the way you want to be portrayed, then you can do that. Now, on the more positive side, right, the next step of that is to provide platforms for your customers to to engage positively, to highlight that. There's like the limit of what one can do is infinite here, right? I mean, I've seen this, like many companies now have like blogging site where they engage their customers to blog about their experience, or there's these mommy blogs for products that are particularly appealing to moms, because that's one of the things they go to. So there's a whole variety of different things that one can do. Now, if your budget is limited, there's only limited things you can engage in. But the fundamental issue here is that this is a conversation. And there will be some people that are for you, some against you. And so what you want to do is you encourage your supporters and try to engage with your distractors, but be careful that you need to make a call and a choice there of who's really relevant and who's really important, because there are always going to be some people that just want to vent.
And I guess it becomes a culture within your company to always be sensitive to the needs of your clients, and be communicating with them about the fact that you rely on referrals and positive feedback, open communication in a positive way in order to find new business. And I guess if they understand that and they're in that social arena, I mean, some businesses just don't lend to online, period. I mean, people aren't going to go online to necessarily say that was a great plumbing job unless they're asked to do so, right? But I think so. What you're saying basically is you need to gauge the cultural side of your business.
Yes. I think that's very true, and I think that's not fundamentally different from what it was before. It's just a lot more visible now, and there's a lot more opportunities on that. I mean, if you're like a professional service provider, you're an accountant or something like that, word of mouth was always important for you. It's just a lot more visible, and there are just more channels and more opportunities for that.